In this video, you'll discover the rare dates, valuable mint errors, and hidden details that could turn an ordinary 10-cent coin into a life-changing treasure. Stay until the end, because the final Roosevelt dime might be the most valuable of them all. What if I told you that a single Roosevelt dime, one that looks almost identical to thousands of others still circulating today, could be worth more than a luxury mansion? Imagine reaching into an old coin jar, finding a worn 1986D Roosevelt dime, and discovering that it may be hiding a rare minting error collectors have spent years searching for. Most people never give a second thought to a dime. They spend it on coffee, leave it in a tip jar, or let it disappear between couch cushions. But collectors know something the average person doesn't. Sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck, it's knowledge. And that knowledge could mean the difference between 10 cents and a life-changing payday. Before another rare coin slips through your hands, stay with me, because today's story may completely change the way you look at your pocket change forever. The 1986D Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint during a year when hundreds of millions of dimes entered circulation across America. At first glance, there is absolutely nothing extraordinary about it. Franklin D. Roosevelt's familiar portrait appears on the obverse, while the torch, olive branch, and oak branch decorate the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Millions of these coins pass through banks, grocery stores, vending machines, and cash registers. That is exactly what makes the rare examples so fascinating. Hidden among ordinary production coins are a tiny number of extraordinary survivors that display dramatic minting mistakes and exceptional preservation, transforming an everyday dime into a collector's dream. Most people assume rarity only belongs to coins that are centuries old. That assumption has caused countless valuable coins to be overlooked. Modern coins can become incredibly valuable when unusual production errors escape the mint's quality control. Every stage of the minting process presents an opportunity for something unexpected to happen. A damaged die, a misaligned strike, an improperly prepared planchet, or a double design can create a coin unlike any other. These are not intentional variations. They are accidents of history, frozen forever in metal. Now here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Many specialists refer to elite examples of the 1986D Roosevelt dime as ghost coins within the marketplace. Not because they are imaginary, but because collectors hear about them far more often than they actually see them. They appear briefly at major auctions, disappear into advanced private collections, and may not resurface again for years. That scarcity creates enormous excitement whenever another remarkable specimen is discovered. Let's talk about the error varieties that generate the greatest attention. One of the most desirable is a strong double die. This occurs when the working die receives multiple misaligned impressions during its creation, leaving noticeable doubling on design elements or lettering. Genuine double dies display crisp, separated details rather than blurry machine doubling. Experienced collectors carefully inspect the date, the inscriptions, Roosevelt's profile, and other design features under magnification, searching for unmistakable signs of true hub doubling. Another highly sought-after variety involves an off-center strike. During production, if the blank planchet is not perfectly positioned beneath the dies, the resulting coin receives only a partial design. Depending on how dramatic the misalignment is while still retaining the full date and mint mark, collector demand can increase significantly. Every percentage of off-center striking creates a unique visual fingerprint that cannot be duplicated. Die cracks and retained die breaks also deserve close attention. As production dies wear under tremendous pressure, microscopic fractures can expand into raised lines visible on finished coins. While many die cracks carry only modest premiums, dramatic examples extending across major design elements can become highly collectible, particularly when combined with exceptional condition. Then there are broad strikes, produced when the retaining collar fails to properly contain the expanding metal during striking. These coins appear wider than normal and lack the sharply defined reeded edge expected on Roosevelt dimes. Although uncommon, well-preserved broad strikes from the Denver Mint remain desirable among modern error specialists. Perhaps the most visually dramatic mistake is the clipped planchet error. Before striking, blank coin discs are punched from large metal sheets. Occasionally, The punching process overlaps a previously removed blank, leaving a curved section missing from the coin. When such a clipped planchet later receives a full strike, the missing crescent-shaped portion instantly tells collectors that something unusual occurred before the coin ever reached the die's point. One of the rarest possibilities involves wrong planchet errors, where a dime design is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. These mistakes are extraordinarily uncommon because multiple quality control systems exist to prevent them. Yet history has shown that even the most advanced production facilities occasionally allow remarkable errors to escape into circulation. When authenticated, wrong planchet errors often become headline attractions at major auctions. Now pause for just a moment. If you have a jar of old coins sitting in your house, this might be the perfect time to think about it. How long has it been since you actually looked through those dimes? Most people never do. Yet valuable discoveries continue to emerge from forgotten collections, inherited boxes, and ordinary household change. The next remarkable coin doesn't always come from a dealer. Sometimes it comes from your own kitchen drawer. Condition is another factor that separates common coins from extraordinary investments. Even a genuine error becomes dramatically more valuable when preserved with minimal wear. Collectors compete intensely for coins displaying original mint luster, sharp strike quality, and nearly flawless surfaces. Professional grading services evaluate every detail, assigning numerical grades that establish market confidence. The difference between an average circulated example and a superb gem specimen can represent an astonishing difference in value. This brings us to one of the biggest misconceptions in modern coin collecting. Many online stories suggest that every 1986 Roosevelt dime is worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That simply is not true. The overwhelming majority remain worth only face value or a small collector premium depending on condition. However, exceptionally rare error coins or elite condition examples certified by respected grading services can command dramatically higher prices because of their rarity, eye appeal, and collector demand. Imagine attending a major coin auction. Bidders from around the country compete through phones, computers, and packed auction rooms. Every participant understands that opportunities to purchase elite modern errors may not come again for years. As bidding accelerates, prices climb rapidly because two determined collectors only need one thing: they both want the same coin. That competitive environment has produced extraordinary auction records across many modern U.S. coin series. Some market discussions have mentioned theoretical values approaching $956,000 for an extraordinary, one-of-a-kind 1986 Roosevelt dime possessing an exceptional combination of spectacular mint error, elite certified preservation, unquestionable authenticity, and unprecedented collector demand. Such figures represent extraordinary scenarios rather than typical market prices, and achieving a value at that level would depend on a truly unique coin with exceptional provenance and intense competition among buyers. Here's another question worth asking. How many valuable coins have already passed through your hands without you noticing? Hundreds? Maybe thousands? Every grocery store transaction, every handful of change from a gas station, every forgotten piggy bank carries at least the possibility of an overlooked treasure. That possibility is exactly what keeps millions of collectors searching year after year. And let's be honest for a second. Most people treat dimes like tiny pieces of metal that barely deserve attention. They roll under the car seat, disappear into washing machines, or get tossed into donation jars without a second thought. Imagine explaining to your family that the coin everyone ignored for decades turned out to be worth more than an expensive home. It sounds unbelievable, but remarkable discoveries have always begun with someone deciding to take a closer look. The popularity of modern error collecting continues to grow as new collectors enter the hobby searching for affordable opportunities with exciting upside. Online marketplaces, major auctions, and certified grading have created unprecedented visibility for rare varieties. As awareness increases, demand for elite examples often strengthens, particularly when only a handful of comparable coins exist. Knowledge remains your greatest advantage. Learning how to recognize genuine mint errors, understanding grading standards, and verifying authenticity through trusted experts can prevent costly mistakes while increasing your chances of recognizing something truly special. Successful collectors are not simply lucky, they are prepared. They know exactly what details deserve attention, And they never assume that every ordinary-looking coin is actually ordinary, so the next time a Roosevelt dime lands in your hand, don't rush to spend it. Turn it over. Examine the date. Look for the Denver Mint mark. Check the lettering, the edges, the strike quality, and any unusual characteristics that separate it from the thousands of ordinary examples you've seen before. What if I told you that a single Roosevelt dime sitting in an old coin jar, forgotten in a dresser drawer, or mixed into your everyday pocket change could be worth far more than a luxury mansion? Most people never give a second thought to a modern dime. They spend it on coffee, toss it into a tip jar, or let it disappear into a vending machine. But collectors know something the average person doesn't. Sometimes the smallest coin hides the biggest surprise. And today we're uncovering one of the most talked about modern Roosevelt dimes among collectors, the 2005 Roosevelt dime. While the overwhelming majority of these coins are only worth face value, a tiny number with extraordinary minting errors and exceptional condition have captured the attention of serious collectors. Some rare error coins from modern U.S. coinage have sold for astonishing prices, making every careful inspection worthwhile. Before you spend another dime, you may want to listen closely, because the next coin you overlook could be the one collectors have been searching for. Imagine two people walking into the same convenience store. One spends a dime without even looking at it. The other pauses for just a few seconds, notices something unusual, and unknowingly holds onto a coin that could become the centerpiece of an advanced collection. That simple difference separates spenders from collectors. One sees money, the other sees history, rarity, and opportunity. That's exactly why millions of Americans have started examining their pocket change more carefully than ever before. The Roosevelt dime has been a familiar part of American life since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership during difficult times and his dedication to the fight against polio. Over the decades, billions of Roosevelt dimes have entered circulation, making them seem ordinary. Yet every so often, something unexpected happens inside the minting process. A tiny mechanical mistake, almost invisible to the naked eye, transforms an ordinary coin into an object of fascination. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 2005. Most entered circulation exactly as intended, with sharp details, balanced designs, and no significant defects. But modern coin production involves massive machinery operating under incredible pressure and speed. When dies become damaged, misaligned, cracked, or receive accidental impacts, unusual varieties can appear. Those mistakes are exactly what experienced collectors spend years searching for. Before we dive into the rarest errors, here's something you should do right now. If you have a coin jar nearby, pause for a moment after this video and check every 2005 Roosevelt dime you own. It only takes a few minutes, and you might discover something you've overlooked for years. One of the most desirable characteristics is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly positioned beneath the dies during the striking process. Instead of receiving a centered image, part of the design is shifted dramatically toward one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, while still keeping the date and mint mark visible, the greater the collector interest. Significant off-center strikes are much scarcer than many people realize. Another fascinating error involves a broad strike. Normally, a retaining collar keeps the metal in place during striking, giving the coin its precise diameter and reeded edge. If that collar fails to function properly, the metal spreads outward, producing a coin that's wider than normal with missing or distorted edge reeds. Collectors appreciate these dramatic mint errors because they clearly demonstrate how a split-second malfunction inside the mint can permanently alter a coin. Now let's discuss one of the most exciting possibilities, a double die. During die creation, even a microscopic misalignment can produce noticeable doubling on parts of the design. Collectors carefully inspect Roosevelt's lettering, the date, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the reverse inscriptions. True double dies display distinct separation rather than simple machine doubling. Discovering a genuine double die can significantly increase collector demand. Die cracks also deserve serious attention. As minting dies strike hundreds of thousands of planchets, tremendous pressure eventually creates stress fractures. These cracks appear on coins as raised lines crossing various design elements. Small cracks are relatively common, But large, dramatic die breaks, sometimes called cuds when part of the die breaks away, are much scarcer and can attract premium values. Then there's the fascinating world of die chips. These tiny raised blobs of metal appear when small pieces of the die break away. Some collectors specialize in unusual die chip varieties because every broken die develops differently, making certain examples surprisingly collectible. Another highly sought-after mistake is a clipped planchet. Before striking, coin blanks are punched from large sheets of metal. Occasionally, one blank overlaps another punch, leaving a curved section missing from the finished coin. These distinctive clips are easy to recognize and have fascinated collectors for generations. Here's another quick challenge. The next time you receive change from a grocery store, don't immediately put those coins in your pocket. Spend just 30 seconds looking at each dime. 30 seconds could make all the difference between spending a collectible coin and preserving it. Condition is just as important as the error itself. Even a spectacular mint error loses value if the coin has heavy scratches, corrosion, cleaning damage, or excessive wear. The highest premiums are usually reserved for coins showing exceptional mint luster, sharp details, and minimal handling. Professional grading services evaluate these qualities using the mint state grading scale. Coins reaching grades such as MS67, MS68, or higher become increasingly scarce because even microscopic imperfections prevent many coins from earning elite grades. Many collectors underestimate just how difficult it is for modern circulation coins to survive in nearly perfect condition. Most enter cash registers almost immediately after leaving the mint. They collide with thousands of other coins, accumulate scratches, and slowly lose their original brilliance. Finding a flawless example years later becomes increasingly challenging. Now here's something that surprises many beginners. Sometimes the rarest coin isn't necessarily the oldest. Modern error coins often exist in remarkably tiny numbers because today's production quality is extremely advanced. When a significant mistake escapes inspection, collectors quickly recognize its unusual nature, creating intense demand. You may have heard stories claiming a 2005 Roosevelt dime is worth as much as $899,000. It's important to understand what those headlines usually mean. An ordinary 2005 dime is not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Values approaching extraordinary figures would require an exceptionally rare combination of dramatic mint errors, elite certified condition, unique collector demand, and an extraordinary auction environment. Such prices represent exceptional possibilities rather than typical market values. Even so, genuine major mint errors and top-graded examples can command substantial premiums that far exceed face value. That possibility is exactly what fuels the excitement of coin collecting. Every collector dreams of discovering the next remarkable coin hiding in circulation. History has shown that overlooked varieties and unexpected mint errors can transform ordinary pocket change into highly desirable collectibles. Auction houses continue attracting competitive bidding whenever truly unusual modern error coins appear. Experienced collectors understand that rarity cannot simply be manufactured. Once an error coin enters a private collection, it may disappear from the market for years. When another example finally becomes available, determined bidders often compete aggressively, pushing prices higher than many observers expect. Think about that for a moment. Somewhere in America, someone may already own one of these remarkable error dimes without realizing it. It could be sitting inside an inherited coin collection, a forgotten piggy bank, or a dusty coffee can hidden in a closet. The owner may believe it's only worth 10 cents. That single question has inspired thousands of collectors to begin searching through their own change. Some discover nothing unusual. Others find silver coins, older varieties, valuable mint errors, or high-grade modern issues that become treasured additions to their collections. Every search builds knowledge, and knowledge is the collector's greatest advantage. The coin market has experienced renewed interest in recent years as more people recognize tangible assets and collectible treasures. Modern technology also allows collectors to share discoveries instantly, increasing awareness whenever a newly identified variety appears. As demand grows and exceptional examples become harder to locate, attention surrounding rare modern coins continues to expand. The beauty of this hobby is that anyone can participate. You don't need expensive equipment to begin. A simple magnifying glass, Good lighting, patience, and curiosity are enough to start examining your coins like an experienced collector. Every roll from the bank becomes a treasure hunt. Every handful of pocket change becomes an opportunity. Before spending your next Roosevelt dime, examine the date carefully. Look for the Philadelphia Mint origin. Study the lettering. Inspect the rim. Have you ever wondered if the dime sitting in your pocket, forgotten in your car's cup holder, or buried inside an old coin jar could be worth far more than just 10 cents? Most people spend their change without giving it a second thought. Collectors, however, know that one tiny detail can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary discovery. The 1981 Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that deserves a closer look. While millions were produced, a very small number display unusual characteristics that have fascinated collectors for decades. The difference between spending a dime and studying it carefully could be the difference between overlooking history and uncovering an incredible numismatic treasure. Before this video ends, you may feel inspired to search every dime you own. The story of the 1981 Roosevelt dime begins at the Denver Mint during a period when the United States Mint was producing enormous numbers of circulating coins to meet public demand. At first glance, this coin appears completely ordinary. It features President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the familiar torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. Millions entered circulation, and most continue to trade hands every day with little attention. Yet experienced collectors understand that rarity is not always created by a low mintage. Sometimes rarity is born from tiny mistakes made during the minting process or from coins preserved in extraordinary condition. This is where the excitement truly begins. Imagine reaching into a drawer filled with loose change and discovering a coin that most people would never notice. To the average person, it is simply another dime. To a knowledgeable collector, it could be the beginning of an incredible story. Before you continue watching, think about this for a moment. Do you have an old coin jar tucked away somewhere in your home? If you do, that forgotten collection may deserve a careful inspection today rather than next week. One of the first features specialists examine is the mint mark. The small d beneath the date tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Although the Denver facility produced millions of these dimes, collectors are always searching for examples with unusual striking characteristics. Certain pieces display dramatic die-related errors that stand apart from ordinary circulation coins. These are the coins that create excitement at coin shows and online auctions. Among the most desirable possibilities is a doubled die. On a genuine doubled die, parts of the design appear doubled because of a mistake during die production rather than simple machine vibration. Collectors examine the date, the letters in Liberty, the word "In God We Trust," and other design elements under magnification. Strong doubling is uncommon and significantly more desirable than ordinary strike doubling, which carries little or no premium. Another fascinating variety is the off-center strike. During the striking process, if the planchet is not perfectly positioned inside the collar, part of the design may be missing while a blank crescent remains visible. Depending on the percentage of the off-center strike and whether the date remains fully visible, these errors can become highly collectible. Every off-center error is unique, making each example a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. Collectors also search for broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die breaks, retained cut errors, and dramatic grease-filled dies. A clipped planchet occurs when the blank coin was improperly cut from the metal strip before striking. Die cracks appear as raised lines caused by aging dies under tremendous pressure. Larger die breaks can create bold raised areas that immediately attract attention. While not every error commands huge premiums, major examples are always in demand because they cannot simply be reproduced. Then there are struck-through errors, where foreign material briefly becomes trapped between the die and the coin during striking. These unusual events can leave fascinating impressions that reveal a split-second accident inside the minting press. Every error tells a story of industrial precision interrupted by an unexpected moment. Now ask yourself a simple question. How many people actually examine a dime with a magnifying glass before spending it? Almost nobody. That is exactly why unusual coins can survive unnoticed for years. Sometimes the rarest discoveries are hiding in plain sight because everyone assumes pocket change has no real value. Condition is another factor that separates ordinary coins from extraordinary collectibles. A heavily worn 1981 Roosevelt dime generally carries little premium unless it displays a significant mint error. However, coins preserved in exceptional mint state grades become much scarcer. Professional grading services carefully evaluate every detail, including luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal. At the highest certified grades, even common date coins can become surprisingly valuable because so few examples survive in pristine condition. This is why collectors often say they are not just buying a coin. They are buying rarity, preservation, and history combined into one small piece of metal. Two coins struck on the same day may have completely different values decades later depending on their condition and whether either one displays a legitimate mint error. Here's something many people find surprising. Some of the most exciting discoveries are made not by professional dealers but by ordinary individuals searching inherited collections, estate boxes, bank rolls, or forgotten jars of change. Treasure hunting in modern coin collecting is very real. The difference is that today's treasure often fits inside the palm of your hand. Of course, extraordinary value requires extraordinary evidence. A genuine mint error should always be authenticated by a respected third-party grading service before any major value can be assigned. Authentication protects both buyers and sellers while confirming that an unusual feature is a true mint-produced error rather than post-mint damage. Scratches, dents, heat damage, or alterations made after the coin entered circulation generally do not increase value and often reduce it. The market for certified error coins has grown steadily as more collectors appreciate their uniqueness. Unlike ordinary circulation coins, major mint errors represent accidents that can never be intentionally repeated. That limited supply creates lasting collector demand, especially when the error is dramatic, visually appealing, and supported by professional certification. Every year, collectors compete for exceptional examples at auctions, and outstanding certified error coins can generate impressive bidding activity. The strongest prices are typically achieved by coins with rare, dramatic mint errors combined with outstanding preservation and verified authenticity. While headlines sometimes mention spectacular six-figure auction results for exceptionally rare U.S. coins, those prices apply only to extraordinary specimens with exceptional rarity, historical significance, or unique characteristics, not to typical circulated 1981 Roosevelt dimes. So before you dismiss another handful of pocket change, remember this. Every collector who has made an incredible discovery started with the same simple habit: looking carefully when everyone else looked away. That mindset separates collectors from spenders. One sees only 10 cents. The other sees possibility. Take a few minutes after this video to examine your own collection. Check the date carefully. Confirm the Denver mint mark. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, unusual surfaces, or other genuine mint-made errors. If something truly appears unusual, compare it with reputable references and consider professional authentication before making any assumptions about its value. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, craftsmanship, patience, and the excitement of never knowing what might appear in the very next handful of change. Every coin carries a story, and occasionally that story becomes valuable enough to capture the attention of collectors around the world. The market continues to reward knowledge. Those who learn to recognize genuine rarity place themselves in the best position to identify remarkable discoveries when they appear. The next great find may not come from an expensive purchase at an auction. It could come from a forgotten coin jar that has been sitting untouched for years. And this is only the beginning. In our next episode, we'll uncover another ultra-rare American coin with fascinating mint errors and collector demand that continues to surprise even experienced numismatists. You won't want to miss it, because the next hidden treasure could already be waiting in your pocket.